Yeah, I don't need you to tell me who Ronnie working with, Marvin.
Kanan would never do nothing like this, though. Not to his mother.
Sometimes we save our worst for the we love the most.
As soon as he said he wanted to be back, I wanted him back, there's no question. But I can't lie, we had already written the scripts. I had also said to Joey early on when he said he was done, look, I have to be honest, this type of role, this type of opportunity can only happen once in a lifetime. He took this thing and turned it into something iconic. That doesn't always happen for an actor. I felt like, wow, to walk away from this is tough. And I wasn't the only one who had the conversation with him. 50 also spoke to him and Joey was able to figure it out. We were able to accommodate, and I think the show is far better for it. So there we have it, Unique was supposed to be dead. However, they managed to work things out at the last moment, and it seems like they made a few adjustments and brought Unique back. But now the question is, what happens in season 4? Because Unique wasn't originally in their plans. So that's the purpose of this breakdown. We're going to be dissecting all the cliffhangers across the entire chessboard for all things Raising Kanan season 4. Now I think everybody will be wondering when will we see season 4. Of course it is a bit too soon to say, but I have been keeping tabs on social media and correct me if I'm wrong. But I do believe they're in the process of filming season 4 at this moment in time. And they are around the episode 4 or 5 mark. But I do think we can safely say we probably won't see season 4 until next year. And my logical guess is around March. We've got Power Book to Go season 4 in May or June, which I will be covering as usual. And then there's going to be Power Book 4 season 3 before we get back to Raising Kanan. So there's a bit of background on where we are with filming and a logical guess when we could see season 4. Now over to arguably one of the biggest talking points from episode 10, Unique's return. Frankly, the end of the season was completely reconstructed. Let me put it to you this way, it wasn't an insignificant amount of work. It required a complete reimagining of the engine of not just season 3, but also season 4. In some ways, the biggest impact has been on season 4. So having said that, the first couple of questions they need to answer in season 4 is, what happened with Unique and how did he exactly survive? Did someone find him? Was he held by someone while he was nursed back to full health? Where was he between 305 and the final episode? Did he reach out to Panessa and was he holding up with her and Jerome at her mother's place? This is a question that they will have to answer in season 4. And Sasha Penn, who's a showrunner, did tell us with his interview with the People that they will answer this question and they will make it make sense. However, will he be the same after what happened to him? Because if you just take a look at his scars on his head, he was pretty badly beaten by his brother. We even had Howard saying they found bone fragments on the steel pipe. So who knows if Unique is ever going to come back the same, which is something Joey Badass mentioned in one of his interviews. So fans have to understand that the Unique that they did know is dead, and this is actually a new version of this character. And I think it's going to be interesting to see how people react to how Unique is now, because he's not just the same anymore. He's not the same in his head, in his mind, he's different. So it does seem like he will have a bit of a personality change. I think he's going to be a lot darker. I think he's going to be thinking about revenge, which is again something that Joey Badass did mention. But he's definitely going to be different after what he went through. I do think he's going to be a lot more darker. Now what they do with his storyline, that's yet to be seen, especially because he wasn't originally supposed to be in season 4. You know, what happens with his relationship with Rock? Because let's not forget, she did take over his operation when he was down and out. So will he want his operation back? Will he get into a partnership with Rock and Daquan and Stefano? Will he want to question Kanan about killing his brother? It's going to be very interesting to see how he starts to navigate the streets of Queens, and just how long he actually remains under the radar, which is something we saw Kanan do when he came back as Slim in Power. You know, will he navigate the streets like a ghost making moves under the radar, or will he just get straight down to business? Now something which I do want to see in season 4 is an interaction between Kanan and Unique, which is something I do think we're going to get after Kanan got rid of his brother. And let's not forget, we've not actually seen an interaction between them just yet, but I do think it is about that time. So that's some background, some information, and questions I have for Unique and this particular storyline, which is definitely up in the air and very unpredictable at this moment in time. Now where are we with Kanan and Rock's relationship, which is really the heartbeat of this show? The span of this series, the heart of it has always been Kanan's relationship with his mother. It's always been the defining relationship, with everything orbiting that on some level. I think the important piece of Howard's death is how it impacts the relationship between Rock and Kanan. That's certainly something we see play out in the subsequent episodes. So in episode 10, in a twist we saw Rock grab Ronnie's gun and get rid of Kanan's father, who Kanan didn't really have much of a relationship with anyway. But to explain this, all Rock has to do is tell Kanan, look, it was him or Uncle Marvin. He was pushing for Uncle Marvin to take the fall, and this was the only way to save us all. But whether she's honest with him or whether she's on her same old Rock bullshit, you just never know with Rock. But killing Howard does seem like it will create a bit more tension. Now something we also have to mention is, Rock is very loyal when it comes to her brothers. She had every opportunity to get rid of Luke, but she didn't. She put him up in a very expensive rehab center over at Cedar Shores. She could have easily have given up on Marvin and saved herself, but she refused and she found another way. So I'm hoping she genuinely sits down with Kanan at the beginning of season 4 and has an honest conversation with him, which is probably wishful thinking. So let's see which direction they start to take their relationship, because there is going to be a number of factors at play, like her operation, a potential conflict with Snaps and Pop, and Rock potentially becoming a grandmother, which we are going to get to in just a moment, and of course, we also now have to factor in Unique. Now, where are we with Rock's operation? She has come out the other end of season 3 somewhat unscathed. She's managed to evade law enforcement, she's managed to save Marvin, losing rehab, and Ronnie's finally no more thanks to Kanan. She's also got the $500k back she took from Stefano, so she can also give that back. She's also got our operation up and running under Quan, with 20 Chinese restaurants, but will Unique want his share of the business back? Not that he exactly built much, but he did get the ball rolling, so there could potentially be a bit of conflict between Unique and Rock. Could we even see Kanan working under Rock and her uncles in the streets? You know, that's something I really would love to see, because I think now is the time Rock needs to take a hard look in the mirror and realize what Tasha once did. So if I were in her shoes, I'd actually teach Kanan the game if I were her. However, Kanan definitely wants to be his own man, and I think the way the story is going and to move it forward, he does need to continue on his own path. And two characters who could play a significant role with Kanan is Snaps and Pop. As expected, Snaps and Pop survive and go into season 4. However, they won't be happy at the fact that Ronnie's gone, or they might, who knows. I don't think Snaps and Pop were ever fond of the way Ronnie conducted his business, but at the end of the day, they are investors and they did invest in Ronnie. So the fact that Ronnie is no more, it means their investment is gone. So will Kanan step into Ronnie's shoes, or in other words, will he be forced to? I do feel like they were planting the seeds for a potential war with Snaps and Pop in season 4. So this situation is definitely one to keep an eye on. They definitely will be playing a significant role going forward. Now this is another cliffhanger going into season 4. Krystal missing a period and potentially being pregnant with Kanan's baby. We all know Kanan had a son in power called Shawn, and it is around the right time for him to have Shawn, so it does make sense that Krystal is pregnant. However, in power Shawn's mother's name was Jarita, so whether the writers are changing this particular storyline with Krystal having Shawn instead of Jarita, they may actually be retconning this particular storyline, so that's just something to bear in mind. We also have to raise a question about whether Krystal could be lying to Kanan. Could she even have the baby, and could Kanan get Jarita pregnant and have Shawn later on, and have another kid apart from Shawn, that could later tie into the wider Power universe with Book 2 Ghost? Who knows, there are so many ways they can spin this idea. But with Kanan having Shawn, you know, whether it happens in season 4, 5 or 6, it will be giving him added responsibility, and something that we haven't really seen in Power much before. You know, seeing how someone deals with having a baby, as well as navigating the street and drug game. And you know, what is Rock gonna say? Because she did warn Kanan in season 1 that she didn't want to be a grandmother just yet, but I do think all the clues are hinting towards it. You know, there was Rock's conversation with Jukebox where she spoke about the past, and in episode 10 we saw Rock stopping at a traffic light right outside a school where she did take a peep at these kids, so I do think all these clues are leading up to maybe Kanan having his son Shawn. Now something else we have to bear in mind is Kanan's best friend's name is also Shawn, and he's most likely named his son after his best friend Famous. So where are we with Famous? Famous was brought in by Garcia because his mom handed in the handgun that she found in his room, and that landed him in a whole heap of trouble because that gun is linked to the death of Frederick Williams. Now despite Famous staying strong, Agent Tanner and Captain Baptiste came in and applied a different kind of pressure. They asked him what does he know about Detective Howard, because he was the one who helped him get out of that holding cell. So what does he exactly know about Howard?
That's a daddy test. It got your initials on it too. KS, Kanan Stark, that's you. Who the other MH? Is MH DEFCON?
Now I'm not too sure whether Famous has pieced the puzzle together with the initials of who MH actually is, but if he hasn't, then I'm sure he might do in season 4 with some pressure from Agent Tanner. So Famous finds himself in a very sticky situation where he'll probably be offered a deal, which is a very dangerous game and he'll know it. However, I actually don't see Kanan naming his son after a snitch, so I'm not 100% sure whether they will actually make Famous a snitch, but it is another cliffhanger going into season 4. Now elsewhere with law enforcement, the manner in which Rock got rid of Howard was very clever. She got rid of him in a warehouse where they'll find him next to Ronnie, so he will look like he was involved with organized crime, which may take some heat off Marvin. However, I do think Agent Tanner and the FBI could still be hot on their heels with the use of Famous, so that's just something to keep an eye on. I don't think law enforcement's role is dead and buried. They'll definitely be casting some new characters for season 4, and law enforcement is definitely one of them I would keep an eye on. Now Raising Kanan season 3 picked up immediately after the chaos of season 2. We saw the fallout from the Italian mafia's attack in real time across the chessboard, with Detective Howard, the Thomases, and with law enforcement. But I would not be surprised if we started with season 4 with a bit of a time jump, with Duke spending some maybe, 6 months to a year with the military. We saw it in a conversation with Aisha and Kanan, where she told him that she was looking to leave Queens, which does actually make sense for her character. You know, she's not in the game with her family. It seems like the girls group is no more. She does potentially have this relationship with Aisha, but it is clear she doesn't want any more heartbreak or consequences like Nicole. So I really wouldn't be surprised to see her joining the army, spending a bit of time there, which helps mold and shape her into the character we saw on Power. So that's where we are with Duke. But what about Uncle Lou? I think we all know Rock and Marvin were never going to get rid of their younger brother. So we caught up with Lou at the rehab center Cedar Shores, where he was contemplating doing something to end all his pain and suffering. But I'm glad he didn't go through with it, because I do think there is a redemption arc for Lou. I do think Lou will come out the other end much better after he is done at Cedar Shores. But whether he comes and helps Rock and Marvin with their operation, I'm not too sure. In my opinion, I do want to see them take a different direction with Lou's character, and music is always that option. Let's not forget, the 90s was the golden age for music. However, having said that, we all know eventually it's not going to end well, and something I'm hoping that they do come back around to is D-Wiz's brother. We still haven't seen him appear, but they also didn't mention him for no reason, so it is a card the writers do hold up their sleeve if they do decide to shake up season 4. Now with all of that being said, that's a breakdown of where we are for each character, along with the main plot points I think we need to be on the lookout for season 4. So the floor is now yours in the comment section. Drop all your thoughts, theories and predictions down below, and as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.